I am your Doctor of Doom.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, we're going to be checking out the Transformers Studio Series War for Cybertron Voyager class Ratchet, which I really do think may just be the biggest turning point for the Gamer Edition, as unlike some of the earlier entries, this guy has both a very solid robot and vehicle mode, and as we directly compare him against the actual in-game character render, he is surprisingly incredibly close. Now, as we check out the details, as always, the head sculpt is bang on. Check out the cybernetics surrounding the mouth. Those are looking sick, and to tell the truth, the same could be said for the rest of the design, although I do think it would have been cool had we maybe seen the return of the Transformers siege battle damage, really just to dirty this guy up, again to better match how he did appear in the video game. But besides that, this is a super solid design, and has surprisingly near enough been filled in front side to back, especially when it comes down to the design of the legs. And as far as the back goes, despite not being entirely accurate to your point of view, I actually think this for the most part integrates really well into the design. And when it comes down to accessories, up first we do see the return of the Energon Repair Ray, which has been brilliantly detailed and definitely does match what we do see in the video game, although one thing which I thought was awesome is that when it does come down to that right arm, it almost seamlessly integrates into the backpack design, which I think has to be by far some of the best storage that we've so far seen for this Gamer Edition line. And to match some of the previous characters, Ratchet also includes a second handheld weapon, this time in the form of the Energon Battle Axe, which can not only be split into two individual components so that you are able to slide this into the hand, but so that you can also combine it along with the Energon Ray to create a full-blown Cybertronian missile. Now, posability wise, yet again, pretty well done. So the head is on a ball joint, this will look up, it will look down, and can be spun side to side. These shoulders are so much better than I expected, because in addition to being on a ball joint, they can also be hinged upwards, which really allows you to get these here out of the way of the main shoulder joint. This will then kick out to the side, spin around here at the bicep, bend at the elbow, rotate around here at the wrist, and in addition to the waist joint being able to be spun all the way around, check this out guys, due to transformation, there is technically an inbuilt ab crunch, which depending on how you pose Ratchet can actually look wicked. The hips can then kick forwards, backwards, as well as there out to the side, the thigh can spin, and the knee can bend. Although to be honest guys, I'm not entirely crazy about the design of the ankles. Due to transformation, these have been sculpted at a slight angle, which whilst may not be the biggest deal in the world, depending on how you pose him can most definitely cause for a stability issue. But the ankle joint has no issues in crunching inwards, and due to transformation, the toe can be brought both downwards as well as upwards. But as I'm sure you guys will know by now, to see the true power of the Doctor of Doom, let's now put him through the pose test. Now, flying through some comparisons, firstly, we are bringing out the Bumblebee movie Deluxe Class Ratchet, and at least as far as my own headcanon goes, I definitely do view this as being a very early to maybe mid-war version of Ratchet, whereas this one is most definitely screaming final battle vibes. He appears to be an absolute unit. Which, talking of, here we have the Voyager class Optimus Prime, which still absolutely reigns supreme in the chunk department. This guy is a beast, which most definitely cannot be said as we bring out Megatron. I think it's crazy that Ratchet ultimately got a much better looking figure in comparison to the big bad leader of the Decepticons. Next up we have Starscream, and alongside Optimus Prime, I really do think we are looking at two of the best figures from this lineup. Then we have the Deluxe Class Bumblebee, and then finally Sideswipe, who also was a pretty good looking figure. So I'm hoping guys that the War for Cybertron curse is now finally over, and that going forward some of these updates can match the quality as we have come to expect from the Bayverse. Now, jumping into this guy's transformation, to be honest, I really do think this is the one big main reason as to why this guy is easily one of the strongest entries, because the amount of detail that has been put into the engineering is nuts, and that can be seen with the very first step. So you are going to take the Autobot insignia and flip this down here to the underside. You are then going to spin around here to the side, where we are now going to take the backpack and angle this here downwards. You are then going to take these additional panels and begin to fold these here outwards. We are then going to take a hold hold of the chest unit, pull this here forwards, and then make use out of this additional hinge joint and slide this here towards yourself. At this point, we can now take a hold of the head, and this is going to very slightly compress inside the chest unit. We are now going to take a hold of the shoulder pads and flip these here all the way around. Again, guys, do the same here for the second side. At this point, you are now going to make use out of this additional torso plate, which is very nicely going to sit in between the shoulder pads, just like that. We are then going to spin around here to the front of Ratchet, where we are now going to straighten out the shoulder. You are then going to make use out of this red joint, as we are going to bring this here towards ourselves. We are then going to spin upwards, and that slot is going to attach into that tab. So extend this here up, snap that into place. Then there is this slot, which is then going to plug into that tab. So bring this here down and snap that into place. And again, guys, do the same here for the second side. Take a hold of this joint, pull this here towards yourself, spin around here at what was originally the shoulder joint, and then line that tab and that slot up with each other. We are then going to spin around here at the bicep, bring the arm all the way down and snap that into place. Now on the underside of the backpack are a mix of both tabs and slots, which are all very nicely going to line up with this section. So take this panel, bring this here up and over, and snap all of those there into place until eventually you have now unlocked a super secret hidden girl walk mode. You are then going to take the entire upper torso and spin this around until eventually the back is now facing the front, and do exactly the same here for the lower legs. Spin these here all the way around, and again, guys, be sure to do the same for the second side until eventually you should be left with something which right now is looking like this. It is now at this point where we can take the front part of the toe, angle this here downwards. You are then going to take the shin guard and pop this here upwards like that. Then for the next step, we are going to come to the inside, where there are so many multi-layered panels which are all compressed within, which I thought was nuts. You are going to want to straighten all of those out by making use out of that double jointed hinge. We are then going to take this panel and fully extend this here outwards until eventually that section there can snap into place. Once that's all said and done, you are then going to take this panel and extend this here forwards and upwards. And again, guys, do the same for the second side. Angle the front part of the toe down, take a hold of the shin guard, pop this here forwards, come to the inside and extend all of these panels from within like that. You are then going to take this panel, extend this here upwards and snap this there into place. We are then going to grab a hold of this backwards panel, extend this here forwards, but then compress it here backwards, really just to get this here out of the way. For the next step, we are now going to make use out of this hinge joint and take the entire lower part of the leg until this does line up perfectly with what were originally the side of the arms. Honestly, I thought that was some sick engineering. And again, guys, do exactly the same for the second side. You are then going to spin around to the back of Ratchet and proceed to directly combine all of this here down the middle. You then must make sure to take the shin guards and also snap these here into place. Then what you'll do is spin up here to the top, take a hold of these panels, snap those into place, pull this here down, and the aim of the game is for this section to sit underneath the windshield just like that. You are then going to spin here to the underside, where there are these two tabs that are going to slide into these slots. So extend this here upwards and snap those there into place until eventually Ratchet should be looking exactly like this. Racing his way onto the Cybertronian battlefield, here we have Ratchet, now fully transformed into, I guess, a Cybertronian ambulance, and again appearing to be incredibly close to how he did appear in the game. Now when it does come down to the details and the sculpt, to be honest guys, this is super impressive, especially as we spin him around here to the back. Unlike Optimus Prime, this guy has been filled in front side to back and has also been detailed top to bottom. It really does seem when it comes down to this guy like no corners have been cut. He is solid. And not to mention also very well painted. I think easily the icing on the cake for myself though would have to be the Energon wheels packing proper pinned on joints, meaning that when it does come down to this guy burning Energon, he should have no issues in doing so. I guess the only complaint I do have would be the weapon storage isn't as impressive as the robot mode. I don't even believe you can take the arm cannon, smack it up top, to create a stealth mode, which is a shame because that was something that we most definitely did see in that War for Cybertron video game. Now, zooming our way through some comparisons, firstly, we have the Bumblebee movie Deluxe Class Ratchet, and I've got to be honest guys, this really is a case where old is gold. I am loving the design of this War for Cybertron version, and I really do think right now he may be the only figure in the Gamer Edition line to give Optimus Prime a run for his money when it comes down to who is the chunkiest, because damn, Ratchet is super wide, even in comparison to this guy, which in robot mode was an absolute beast. Here is how he stacks up against the Deluxe Class War for Cybertron Bumblebee, and then finally Sideswipe. So yet again guys, the Gamer Edition line is most definitely killing it when it comes down to these Cybertronian based vehicles. So, wrapping up on this review for the Transformers Studio Series War for Cybertron Ratchet. To my surprise, this is actually a very good looking figure with very little to complain about. It's like finally Hasbro have pulled their fingers out of their ass to give us a solid entry. The robot mode I think looks fantastic and the vehicle mode equally as good. The transformation though is nuts. The engineering for a Voyager class I thought was awesome. By far one of the most interesting transformations to come from this subline. The only part of the design that honestly I'm not the biggest fan of would be the angle of the feet, but to be honest guys, that is such a minor issue that for most I doubt you will even notice it. I would love to know what you guys think of Ratchet down below. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and until my next video, transform and roll out!